Welcome to First Impact, a weekly podcast where we talk about the 90s anime series Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm Jordan, and with me is my co-host, Old Jen. Today we'll be talking about the episode A Human Work, originally aired on November 15th, 1995, written by Hideaki Anno and Yōji Enokido, and directed by Keiichi Sugiyama. So in this episode, we start with some shifty stuff with Gendo, and then a little bit of intro into what Second Impact really was.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Or an allusion to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Masato and Ritsuko go to a sort of showcase for a new sort of defense measure to fight the Angels, which the test of which goes wrong pretty quickly, and Masato intervenes to sort of save the day. That's the broad strokes of the episode. What do you think?
Well, I want to start at the top with the revelation of what really happened down in the Antarctic.
That it was an angel attack.
On that fateful day. Well, I assumed angel attack, right?
Yep.
Like big explosion, angel involved, you would assume like an attack. But then they're saying like they discovered the angel down there.
And contact with it caused
second
impact.
Yeah, and there was an explosion, which they still don't know the cause of.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, I assume just a run-of-the-mill angel attack, but some event happened that caused an explosion. So the cover-up was that the meteorite melted the polar ice caps.
Yeah. But the revelation is essentially that there was no meteorite. No. It was an angel, and contact with that angel caused an event which still melted the ice caps.
Yeah. Still a bit vague as to exactly what happened. I wonder if
Masato
knows.
In that entire conversation is like arms crossed and not really partaking.
Yeah.
So there's like a little bit like, I guess my inference on it now is that she's potentially like, this is either she's not happy about the full story being told to Shinji, or she's not happy with the explanation of that story.
Yeah.
Like whether there's more to it and she feels like Ritsuko's just giving him the runaround still, or that she just doesn't like it full stop. Prior to that, we do open with the scene of Gendo. He's on the phone to, I guess, like someone who has been spying on the Jet Alone program, because we see that like they've acquired materials about the development of it. It's all classified material. And then the last image we see before we cut to Masato and Ritsuko on the escalator is a shot of Jet Alone.
Yeah. Like
a sort of black and white photo of it.
Yeah.
Obviously their mole has well and truly gotten a lot of information on this.
Well, also, actually, it just sort of occurred to me because later in the episode, we see that some of Nerve's information, classified information, has been leaked as well.
Yes.
So there's got to be moles and leaking back and forth.
Yeah, because
you would think, right?
He knows about which parts.
The AT field.
The AT field.
Yeah.
And, how do they know about that?
So it's about intellectual warfare going on, right?
Yeah, there's a sort of interdepartmental sort of business. Like a lot of rivalry. Well, you do get that scene where she questions how they got that information.
Yep.
You have the scene where Ritsuko is like, they're sitting at this sort of like big event, the showcase event, and the only people at the Nerve table are Masato and Ritsuko, and every other department is like full tables, full like a full crowd, and you get Dr. Akagi just like drilling him with like sort of questions and like sort of trying to like catch him off guard, and he has this sort of answer for everything.
Yeah, he's got freaking visual aids ready to rebut her.
He has the image of Unit 1 going berserk.
Yeah, right.
It very much, because they established that there's like the budget for Nerve is eating into everyone else's budget.
Yeah, right.
And that not just Nerve, but the Evangelion project as a whole is sort of eating into everyone else's project. That guy who's on the plane with Gendo mentions that like because of it, there's now like a country that's like the people are starving in order to build these things.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a lot of like that classic old school sexism.
Yeah. Just to establish that he's a bad guy.
The sort of Nerve, which obviously send two of its like leading members.
Yeah.
Masato, who's director of operations, and Dr. Akagi, who is the head of the program, essentially.
And who is quite renowned, apparently. You know, the world famous, or, you know.
Yeah, he knows her by name and face.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like, his jab at their program is not so much predicated on just what the unit is itself, but also can't help himself but put the little dig in there about like that the unit's going berserk
is like a hysterical one. Yeah, that's right.
He makes that comparison,
and the whole rest of the room laughs as well, right?
It's the 90s.
I'm just thinking in that wide shot where we see.
I say that and like I don't think,
but it's the future.
Enough hasn't changed.
It's 2015, the future. Yeah, right. I wonder in that wide shot where we see.
You've got to break the wheel, Jen.
Yeah, right. Where we see. Oh, what does that mean? Break the wheel.
The cycle.
Oh, the cycle.
Yeah.
I'm saying break the cycle. Well, in that wide shot where we see, you know, all the different tables, are they the only women in there? I'm just trying to think.
Probably not, but I think it's very much intentionally like isolating Nerve from this sort of like the rest of... I think the rest of the tables are like the SSDF, because this is like a private contract has made Jet alone.
Yep.
And they've been commissioned by the SSDF to build that robot.
The robot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, remember how we see...
Basically, everything in Evangelion is Jet alone is the opposite.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like whereas like you require a pilot that has to sync with the Evangelion.
Yeah, this is
Jet
completely
alone is automatic.
Just nuclear bombs. That's how it operates, right?
The Evangelion runs off electricity, and like if you cut the cable from it, it's only got 5 minutes of runtime.
That's right.
The
15 days, wasn't it? 150 days.
Oh, 150
I think 150 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Jeez. Remember how we see Masato dress up very, very conservatively for this conference? And they make a big thing of that. Yeah, she's in
full sort of like, I guess, dress uniform?
Maybe she's trying to preempt, like she knows what sort of reception, you know, these two women are going to get at this sort of conference.
She's in her full sort of like Nerve... this is how we put our best foot forward sort of gear.
Yeah.
At the start of the episode, we have the scene where she wakes up and she's in her typical sort of like pajamas.
Yep.
She like Pen's guzzling down a full fish. You know, Shinji's got his morning coffee.
You never go full fish. Yeah, morning coffee.
Pen says the opposite.
Yeah.
Shinji's got his morning coffee. She comes out. She's got the beer. We get this sort of like who she is as a morning person, and then as a stark contrast the next day, like Shinji and Pen's like complete shock at how she's up, she's ready to go, she's got that sort of professional demeanor, and I think that's a sort of mood that she carries through most of the episode. Is that
it's true.
I really get this sense that she suspects something from the very start. Like she's even not happy about like Jet Alone's creation, full stop.
Yeah, no,
or she knows that Jet Alone's creation means that Nerve is going to fuck with them.
Yeah, well, because
like they're very shady. That sort of like Nerve is very like in the shadows. Yeah, she's got to know that like if someone else is making a rival product, there's going to be some fucking around, even if she doesn't know.
Yeah, well, yes, even. You're right. She doesn't seem too optimistic about this whole crowd. Because remember in the scene where Ritsuko is doing the drilling.
Yep. Oh, she's like, you got to stop.
You got to stop. Make you seem childish. And probably also had a sense of it's whatever you're saying is not going to have an effect, you know? Yeah. It's pointless.
Well, you've walked into their domain. Yeah. It's like his showcase. Like everyone's laughing at his jokes. You know, he's like, he's got up there. He's got the boys behind him. Anything he says is met with like... absolute rapturous laughter. Anything she says is like, you know, booze and shut the fuck up sort of shit. Like you've walked into his domain.
Yeah, right.
And he's playing to the crowd. He's giving them what they want.
The ultimate showman.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
rival Gendo himself.
Oh man. Let's talk about the unit, like the test of this
Jet Alone
of the Jet Alone robot. Yeah.
So immediately goes wrong.
Doesn't go too well. It was interesting though.
They lose control of it. They have like the remote control. They can't. They lose the ability to stop it or move it.
Yeah.
And the reactors start to meltdown.
It was so funny where, like, they're ready to power up the test, and they're ready, and one of the technicians or whatever, he says, danger is impossible, or all danger, there's no danger at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of their sort of rundown, script when they say, there's no danger at all. Oh, fuck that.
They've gone through all the checks.
Yeah.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
And then, look, we see a big moment where the first thing we see it do is take a step forward.
Yeah.
And remember Shinji the first time
you do get those parallels there.
Yeah. The first time he got in his unit, he fell flat in his face.
Yeah, Masato's like,
this thing can walk. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Can it fight an angel?
I thought there was a really sad moment where, because remember at the very first episode, we had the tanks and the helicopters, conventional weaponry and methods being used against the first angel, right?
Yep.
This episode, now that the units are sort of, the main defense, we see the helicopters being sort of relegated to dropping Misato on the thing, these helicopters,
that big giant
yeah,
B-2 bomber or like stealth bomber style aircraft dropping Unit 1.
Well, these bomber pilots are thinking, man, we used to be the guys. Now,
well, that was one of the guys.
Now these
in
units
HQ,
have
the spectacled guy.
That's true. I thought it was him.
So
Jack of all trades.
He's more than just a
push
control
buttons,
panel technician dude.
Hexagon specialist. Yeah, okay.
The resident hexagon specialist.
Yeah.
That's actually why they brought him in. They're like, I need a rundown on how the diagnostic unit for Jet Alone works. And they're like, well, good news, it's hexagons.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
I'm the fucking man for the job.
How many hexagons did that Jet Alone robot have?
You just gotta... All right, we've got, a bunch of cores.
Yeah.
How do we want to display those cores on a GUI? I've got it. A hexagon shaped in a giant hexagon.
Oh, it was a hexagon in the hexagons.
I think so.
Oh, fuck.
Needless to say, they were some angry hexagons.
Yeah, right.
I do appreciate that in this sort of episode, you very much have this thing going along in the background that, like, Gendo is running an operation separately to Misato.
That's true.
And when Misato and Ritsuko go to the locker room and Misato has her outburst and she's, like, kicking the shit out of that locker.
Yeah.
And then Ritsuko has that, like, she flips that line about, you just look childish.
Yeah, right.
Flips that back onto her. She questions how the AT field was leaked.
Yeah.
And Ritsuko says, like, there's been massive leaks at the moment. And Misato's response to that is, like, what are intelligence doing?
Yeah.
So I think that is very much, like, establishing that the sort of, like, espionage side of NERV is very much outside of her realm.
Yeah.
Which is why she wasn't privy to the whole sabotage.
Yeah. No, she's focused on the units, the pilots.
Yeah,
right.
That this job, director of operations, which I think is the first time we've sort of had the clarification of her role. We have her rank.
Yep, captain.
And we assume that she is, like, obviously from all the battle scenes that she is in control.
Yeah.
But we get a title this episode.
Yeah, right.
And in doing so, you sort of establish how, I guess, the command structure and the sort of even inside NERV, the interdepartmental sort of, like, division of labor.
Yeah.
That she has no idea about this operation, and whether that's because they don't think she'll play ball.
She's an action girl. I want to talk about, because there's a very interesting thing, and I brought it up while we were watching it, and you were sort of coy about it, right? So I'm thinking I've hit onto something. The dude from Jet Alone eventually gives Misato the password, right?
Yes.
Hope. It's a beautiful
Unable to look at her in the face while he does it.
Yeah.
Ashamed of everything going wrong.
Well, we say that, but I think... I'm wondering if he was trying to just stifle his giggles. Because did he give her the wrong password? Because she puts in hope, we get error message, but then she does sort of. Then I'm wondering if was the right password, but then it's sort of just jammed up, so she had to, like, push that big missile-looking thing.
That was one of the cooling rods. I think. I think she was trying to push the cooling rod back in to, like, manually fix the problem.
Right.
So my reading of it, and I think initially I would have been very much in your sort of, like, line of thinking, that she was, like,
sabotage.
She was being played by him. That is, like, if it's going to go out, I could also take NERV with me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when it's sort of, like, on this watch, it became very clear that, like, just before Jet Alone started up, we have that real quick cutaway to, like, a command script on a computer running.
Right.
Just before Jet Alone is activated.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was supposed to be, like, the headquarters like running it.
Right.
I think that was like the saboteur had reprogrammed it.
Okay.
And as part of the reprogramming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to basically get just to the point of meltdown.
Right.
And then fix itself. So I think Masato was given the right password.
Yeah.
She put it in.
Yeah.
But what they'd done to it as part of the sabotage was that at the last minute, it would resolve itself.
Why would they do that?
Well, because twofold.
Right.
One,
give me the first fold.
the unit cannot be controlled.
Yeah.
Jet alone is uncontrollable. It malfunctioned and they lost control of it.
Yeah.
Two,
and
it's a walking nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
So in the event that they do lose control of it, you now have a nuclear bomb walking around that you can't stop.
Yeah.
And then the other part of the plan is that they sent Unit 1 to stop it. So my belief is that...
this is Gendo and his buddies?
Yeah, so like intelligence.
Yeah, intelligence. What are intelligence doing? They're doing something.
Yeah, they're sabotaging people's shit.
Yeah.
So the idea that I had was that they didn't intend for Masato to go inside it.
Yeah.
Because they had already...
They knew.
Their fail-safe was...
Yep.
Unit 1 turns up, does a big show, pushes it and holds it from going anywhere. And then the reactor fixes itself.
Yeah, right.
So they get the credit for saving the day
because
they held Jet alone in place. And then two, it resolves itself and the funding's pulled because they're like, this thing became a walking bomb.
Yeah, right.
And like, thank God Nerve was here to save the day. But then what they got as a bonus was because Masato's not the sort of person who sits on the sideline, which he more or less says that guy. Like, you have to have a plan that is based on doing something.
Yes, right.
Not a plan based on waiting for a miracle.
Yeah, right.
She gets inside, so now she's become unwittingly a part of the play.
Yeah.
And like, once again, that could also be part of the plan, is that they have a captain who they believe in, and they know that she's gonna sort of do something to save the day.
Yeah, okay.
And they're happy to risk that because they know that there's no risk of it actually exploding.
Right.
Because they've already programmed in a failsafe. And that's what I think you get there, is that scene where she's like, fuck this, the password's not working, I better do something. And she tries to push the cooling rods in herself. When that happens and it all goes green and she's sitting there and they're like, are you okay? And she's sort of sitting there. I think that's the moment she realizes that she's unintentionally become a pawn in Nerve's sort of like power play.
Yeah, well,
like that she's, you have to get up pretty early to fool Masato sort of shit.
Well, I hadn't seen Masato in that way. Yeah, she was like fatigued, like she'd just, saved the day, and we saw her fatigued. We haven't really seen that.
Yeah, I think that's a real.
It was like fatigue realization. It was
like they played me too.
Right.
I'm on that team, and like as part of their scheme, I had to be fooled.
Yeah,
like that they didn't, like whether that's like a breach of trust for her or just whether like, fucking you sly bastards, and then not being like pleased with that.
I don't think she'd be pleased. I think that's going to be some fallout from this.
And then at the end of the episode, you get the return to the slovenly Masato.
Yeah,
like, right back to it now that the sort of the big
back onto the sake.
Yeah, that's how you start the day.
Also, traditionally
you smash 6 and then you go to work.
Also, that's how Pen feels about fish as well.
How many are you smashing?
I want to talk just in general. I sort of said that while we're watching it. You started to notice, I don't know if you have, that Shinji has sort of become one of the few normal characters in the series.
Yeah, he's getting grounded.
Yeah.
He's got friends.
Yeah.
And he has that sort of like, he's very quickly settled into like his friends who are interested in his older sister.
Yeah. He's looking around at people and going, you guys are fucking morons.
Like, you're buying into like, everyone thinks Masato looks so cool. If only you knew what she was really like.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you have that sort of like, it's a bit like heavy-handed, but you do have that poignant moment at the end where like Kensuke and Tochi, like, they give him that whole like, you really are a kid, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing a side of her that no one else gets to see because you're family. And like, as I said, very heavy-handed, but it doesn't hurt.
No.
Sometimes we need things explained to us.
Yeah, okay.
So we really do have this sort of Shinji's character starting to be really grounded by his friends. Mm-hmm. He has a friend group now.
Yeah.
He has that relationship with Masato that they point out to him. Like, you are like becoming family with this woman, and like the breakfast ritual with Pen.
Yeah.
Like it's a
sort of nice.
Familial
I
unit
guess
like
nice.
being set up there, and I think you are noticing like that Shinji is like the most normal character at the moment. We're sort of getting like, is this a Shinji who exists in a world where he actually has family and friends for the first time, and the results of which are immediate and very positive. And now we're starting to see the sort of like the cracks and the sort of unusual textures in all the other characters now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like Ritsuko is obviously very like, she's goaded into like, she really wants to stick it to this guy. That like,
actually, that's the first time.
You're telling us about this like Jet Alone thing, but like, I got all these reasons for why Jet Alone is a piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
And why the Evangelion program deserves all the money.
Yeah, we definitely saw more personality from Ritsuko this episode than we have seen before.
Yeah, without those sort of moments where like she's very sort of like, you get those like friend banter between her and Masato.
Yep.
You don't really see her as like, she's quite unflappable. And this one, she is very flapped.
Yeah, it's very flappable. Yeah.
Like the feathers are ruffled by this guy's sort of like insistence that the Evangelion program is like a temperamental, like potentially chaotic sort of program that she won't have a bar of.
Well, does the phrase unflappable and feathers ruffled have a connection? No, feathers flapping?
That's the way my mind works.
Well, there's sort of, I just had a double feather sort of, vibe just there for a sec.
Our second episode this week is Asuka Strikes, originally aired on November 22nd, 1995, written by Hideaki Anno and Yōji Enokido, and directed by Kazuya Tsurumaki. So in this episode, we get the introduction of Asuka. They go out to meet the Pacific Fleet, which is escorting Unit 2 to Tokyo 3. And along the way, we meet some new characters, Asuka and Kaji, and they have their first encounter with an angel at sea, and we see Unit 2 activated to fight it.
I think I've seen her image before. She's
she's in the opening credits the whole way through.
Yeah, but I mean just in life. Like, she's an iconic character, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. That suit, that color of the suit, I've seen before, definitely.
Yep.
Okay. And then, we get...
You've basically just met, like, one of the most... Like, obviously, you've got the three main characters, Shinji, Rei, and Asuka.
Yep.
And now we've finally got all three of the pilots together.
Right. Okay.
With the tease in the previous episode that a lot of the other countries are starting to build their own. Yeah. So she's been sent from Germany with Unit 2.
Yep.
And she's the second child.
Yeah. That's what I want to know, and that's what we were sort of talking about during the episode. Yeah, she has the third unit that's been constructed.
Yep, Unit 2.
Yet she's the second child, so she's probably had more time with this unit. She's been handpicked.
Well,
probably
the Unit
a while
2's
ago.
only just been built.
Yeah, okay.
So my understanding of the whole child numbering system is that that's the number at which they were selected to be pilots.
Yeah.
And then they've been dealt out the units as they've been manufactured.
Because Asuka has been training.
Yeah, so Asuka's been named as the second child by the Marduk report, which is, from what I gather, the selection program for like who's an ideal candidate. And she was selected and named much further in the past than Shinji.
Yeah.
But Shinji was picked from Japan and therefore able to come and pilot Unit 1, which was... So Unit 0 is the prototype.
Yep.
Unit 1 is the test type. That was like developed for combat.
Right.
And Unit 2 is the actual production model.
Yeah, okay.
Like combat ready out of the box. Evangelion unit.
Yep.
Like implying, I think, that any future ones would be similar to Unit 2.
And I think probably with similar amounts of training, because I think it's Asuka herself who says it. plays up the amount of training, or or talks up the amount of training that she's had.
Yeah, she's definitely very sort of egocentric character who's like, she has no interest in Shinji until she's told by Kaji that he jumped into Unit 1
and got
and was able to fight and have 40% synchronization ratio with it. On his first attempt, and that obviously sort of piques her interest in him. And I think she sets out a little bit to prove why she's the sort of superior pilot.
Well, she brings him along into her unit when she goes to fight the Angel. As a watch this kid.
That's a sort of showy move.
Doesn't go too...
she also does a lot of mental gymnastics to justify why, she's like, oh, of course you can pilot the shitty test one. Like, this is the full combat unit. So, like, the combat one, you actually have to work to be able to pilot one of these.
I wonder if... Yes, I agree it was mainly to show off to Shinji. I wonder if there was an element of whether she was a little bit frightened and she just sort of wanted someone there, only because there was a moment where the angel is approaching. We see like the waves,
she's surprised
and she's like, oh, an angel, a real one.
So because Shinji's the only person who's had combat experience with an angel up until this
she
point.
would have done heaps of simulations, I'm guessing, but I put two and two together when she brought him in and she said that thing. I'm wondering if maybe she wanted someone there. I
guess it no matter how much confidence you have, actually coming face to face with this sort of thing that you've been training for is still going to be a nerve-wracking experience, even for someone who is as so on the surface as arrogant and confident as she is.
We saw more of this episode as well. More of the sense of Nerve's place in... in the opinions of people. The UN...
being outside of the military, but having the ability to outrank and requisition anything that they want.
Yeah, because we saw the crew of this UN ship, or this little armada.
The Pacific Fleet,
the Pacific Fleet, not being too crash on the idea of Nerve being there. The captain's like, oh...
very condescending.
Calling them toys, calling the units toys,
kids' toys, these kids, babysitting. It's very much running this consistent line of sort of like patronizing conversation.
Let's talk about the other new character,
Kaji. Right. Yes.
With his was it 5 or 6 little hairs on his face,
his stubble,
representing as sort of sexy stubble.
He's a Devil May Care character with his very it was so weird. Off the cuff remarks and very flirty disposition.
It was creepy because he, Masato, and all the children are having a meal in the mess hall or something, right? In the cafeteria. And he's like, "Oh, so you're living with Masato, huh? Did you still toss and turn in bed?" To be fair, remember early days, I did see Masato as a bit of a sex pest, and my opinion of her has sort of changed.
Well, she's very much taken on that. She has become the older sister character to Shinji. Like the sort of the flirtiness has subsided in favor of being more of a familial unit.
It certainly has.
And then you sort of get that Kaji coming back with the like, oh, Masato used to like be a bit of a wild thing. Have you experienced that, Shinji, as the other man in the house?
The other man.
And it's so like weird. There is a certain somebody who has to come into a situation and let everyone know his previous
sort
sexual
of
history.
It's I don't know. It's just sort of.
Everyone's taken aback by it, and I think Shinji's just like, he's like blank face, like I don't know how to process this. No. Everyone else is like, nunny the fuck.
Well, they are like we sort of saw in the last episode, and what you're saying now,
especially Asuka, who is clearly crushing on Kaji. He pops his head into the bridge.
And
she's like, straight, like, homes in on him,
and later
she's off hanging out with him.
And at the end of the battle, Where's
Kaji?
Where's Kaji? Masato's, he's
Kaji
gone.
fucking bounced.
He bounced in the most weird way, dude.
That was
He's in his
amazing,
little plane.
where you just see he's got a UN pilot taking him.
Sorry, I have to deliver something halfway through a battle. And I mean, we know why. He's been called,
Gendo said to him that if it all goes down, that he needs to get out of there straight away because of he's more important, or he's the priority in that situation, which we don't know what that means.
No, we don't know why yet. Yeah, right.
But then at the end, you find out that he's delivered what they're calling the first human being.
That threw me for a loop, dude.
Yeah, it's like a little embryo sort of frozen in amber by the looks of it.
Yeah. And
like being preserved.
And this is where we learn sort of a bit more about what the human instrumentality project is all about.
Adam is the key to it.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Human Instrumentality Project is the thing that Gendo's superiors were saying, no, dude, this is the thing you have to focus on.
Yeah, this is his priority.
Yeah, right.
That the Evangelion program is secondary in his list of priorities, and they're obviously some sort of the primary funding body behind all this.
Yeah, okay.
Kaji does mention that the atom has started to regenerate itself.
That's right.
That it had rebuilt itself to that sort of like weird embryo sort of like shape.
Yeah. But clearly
that it was not previously that large. That it
may
actually
it may just been a cell or something. But this is like an organism, small. But an organism.
But tied to everything. Well, they're calling it the first human. Yeah. And I would be like, looking back at that line about how the angels and humans share very close DNA.
Yeah.
And sort of like how it's all connecting together.
Yeah. So this really isn't your run-of-the-mill mecha show, is it?
No, it's putting all those like...
Right.
All the plot elements are starting to like branch out. And we're starting to get these sort of like... Gendo is the way Nerve infiltrates and sabotages their competitors.
Yeah,
you see that in the previous episode.
Yeah.
Kaji is this very like he's on a special mission, and even though they're delivering Unit 2, it's established at the end of that episode that Unit 2 wasn't the primary delivery.
Yeah, right.
Kaji's mission with Adam in the case was the actual goal of that whole operation. And you could argue the only reason Unit 2 was on that ship was because they noted that was the angel attracted to Adam?
Yeah, right.
Why is that why the angel arrived to attack the ships?
Yeah,
because
possibly.
it was hunting that sample down.
Yeah, okay.
And that if they knew that ahead of time, that's the only reason Unit 2 was in that ship, or like in the fleet, was so that they actually had some form of defense against it.
Yeah.
And then Kaji just bounces anyway. So
yeah, right. Because we sort of still don't know why...
The angels attack.
Yes.
They're attracted to Nerve HQ.
We've seen it correct.
Because Sakiel knows where they are.
Yep.
It's able to target them.
Yep.
Ramiel knows where they are.
Yeah.
And
your
Shamshell doesn't really...
Shamshell's
he doesn't really get a chance. He just gets like engaged in combat straight away.
Yep.
But the fact that it's in Tokyo 3 indicates that like they're all heading there for a reason.
Again, bringing up the valid question, Tokyo 3, not a good place to live, right?
No, especially when it's becoming sort of very clear that angels are drawn to it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Specifically, Tokyo 3.
Yeah.
So the angel this week, Gargiel,
okay, let's fucking do this.
Is Roaring Beast. Roaring Beast of God.
The first water-based one.
Yeah, like a giant sort of white whale.
Yeah. Wasn't it cool the way it exploded?
Where the ships are sank into its mouth and then just open fire.
Yeah, then they self-destruct. But then it's like the explosion has a delay factor. Yeah. The angel sort of absorbs the destructive energy and then...
Well, you see that sort of effect when Sakiel in the first battle, where it self-destructs by wrapping around Unit 1, and it like does that sort of becomes a little bit more like a balloon, sort of like liquid, wraps around.
That's right,
and then does the bulging before exploding.
Yeah, that was weird when that happened. I know this was way back in the first episode, but it was sort of weird behavior from the angel, didn't you think? It's like, I've been defeated, but if I'm going to go, I'm going to take you with me.
Yeah.
Is that what sort of happened?
The angels really seem to have, like, no self-preservation.
Yeah.
Like, there's no drive to protect themselves. They're very much driven by, like, a mission.
Not unlike Rey.
Didn't see
we didn't see Rey at all.
No Rey in this
because we weren't in Tokyo.
No.
Right.
She didn't go.
Yeah.
Well, she's not fun.
Yeah, she really
I guess is the idea there.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there's also the fact that all of Shinji's friends are brought along on this trip. So, like, Masato brings essentially 3 teenagers, 2 of which have no connection to NERV outside of being Shinji's friend.
On what has to be a classified mission, right?
Yeah, they're going to see the ship that's carrying Unit 2.
Yeah, okay.
She obviously doesn't know about Adam. But you've got to, like, suspect at this point in time that if there's one of the Evangelions being transported in a fleet, the fact that there is a fleet protecting it, the fact that she's on a helicopter that's carrying the plug, so that they can power it up if they need it, means that she's got to suspect danger.
Yeah, right.
And she's very, like, sort of like,
I know.
Hey, you guys deserve a date.
A date, yeah.
Like, let's go out to sea and have a nice cruise on this ship.
Not very, not very responsible. This Masato.
But Masato doesn't think about what she says. She's just very casually flirty, and she has, very little understanding of, like, how these boys are reacting.
Yeah, right. I know.
They're very much, like, taking everything in a very literal sense. You have Toji, who's like, I bought this new hat. Well, I'm so glad to find out this is actually a date. It's like, no, you dunce. No. Even if she calls it a date, she's calling it that out of a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's very lighthearted. Like,
also, we saw some just talking about Toji with his new hat.
Toji's a horn dog, man.
Horn dog millionaire. His is not just a hat, but baseball cap. It was funny when the cast first arrived on the ship, the UN ship. We heard, like, southerny sort of jingle jangly banjo music. Yeah,
that's the we're having fun theme.
Yeah, right.
The show.
We're having fun banjo.
And everyone, when I think banjos, I think fun. When I hear banjo, I think pork.
I think Banjo Kazooie, but I guess I just don't have as much of a dark mind as you. Yeah.
This is very much in the same vein. You see Masato sort of, like, tactical mind at play. You get that very, like, sort of, like, Star Trek, someone explains an idea and then someone it's like fishing. And then she's like, fishing, and then has the idea. Like putting too much air in a balloon.
Yeah, right.
She comes up with the plan to essentially sink 2 ships and have the power cable, which is acting as the fishing line, recoil it so that the Angel is brought into the 2 ships.
Yeah, it was very clever.
Have Unit 2 open the mouth and then sink the ships into it.
That's another thing
and then automatically fire the cannons.
Yeah, right.
And then self-destruct.
That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Asuka, you can tell. I know we sort of made light of her, but she really has. You can tell that she's way more experienced unit, like Ava pilot, because she understands, I think, more of the
mechanics of it.
Well, and the relation between the pilot and the unit, as in that that synergy. Because she's saying she says to Shinji,
think German.
That. But just focus on open the mouth.
Yep.
Focus your thoughts on that. She has more of a knowledge of this, the way that the pilot and the unit sort of connect.
Asuka definitely strikes me as someone who she's done the hard work. She's studied the books. Yeah. She's done the training. She is the sort of the hard worker. Yep. I worked here. I worked hard to get here. And Shinji's that sort of like, he just rocks up. Yep. He gets in.
Gendo-san.
The thing boots up. Like everything's essentially
He's
been
the
like...
Wunderkind.
Yeah, it's been set up for him to succeed with essentially no effort.
And then there's Rey, who's sort of her place. Now with the introduction of Asuka, Rey's sort of place in the whole pilot hierarchy, sort of a bit muddled.
Well, Shinji's having a hard time dealing with like having 2 like women in his life.
Yeah, right.
Now you throw in one who's like, Masato is like that older sibling sort of like familial bond. Yep. Rey is this sort of like mysterious girl that he sort of has a crush on.
Yeah, but then there's the whole Gendo, dad.
And there's that weirdness
thing.
Between like that dynamic. And now you have essentially Asuka, who is a like not afraid to like just jump in. She's very much like pushing him in like a more blatant way. You know, when he says a thing, she pushes back. She's not as I feel like Rei is very non-confrontational and Asuka is all the confrontation. Her entire introduction into the show is Toji's hat blows along the deck.
Oh, and she steps on it.
Yeah. And then her dress blows up and he catches a full view and he is then charged the viewing fee.
Yeah, right. But in classic Toji sort of style, like you said, very eye for an eye, very symmetrical. His choice of proceeding is not, apologize, blah, blah. He says, well, I've seen yours. It's only fair if you see mine.
Yeah, right? Here's the change.
Exactly. Just keep the change. There's no viewing fee for this. This is all on the house.
And then receives another slap.
Yeah, right.
Toji is the series punching bag.
I want to talk about, because we talked about Gendo and wondering when, if ever, are we going to see
Gendo
the moment...
and his wandering hands.
Yeah, are we going to see the moment where Gendo and Shinji finally, not like...
How far in until we actually get a face-to-face?
Or a face-to-face acknowledgement of, Shinji's actually been doing some good stuff lately, and then maybe Shinji, just their relationship getting a bit better.
Well, that's the big question. Right? This is now another, like, almost Gendo-less episode, aside from he pops up at the end, and he's at the start to basically say, we're running things parallel to everyone else.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm sort of wondering, are we ever going to get this whole moment? Because Gendo's been doing some shady shit recently.
Yep.
That's what I mean. Man. Like, are we... Yeah, and I wonder what Shinji's reaction is going to be when he finds out, if he finds out all this stuff that his dad is doing. And
I guess it all depends on what that human instrumentality is.
That's what, right. A lot of layers forming in this show now.
Yeah, I think we're in a great position. Like, arguably, this is the point in the show where things start to change, that the dynamic of the show drastically alters. I think you really get that sense. Like, it's called Asuka Strikes. That this is a catalyst moment. The ending credits now have a red tinge to them.
Yeah, this one did.
I can't remember if that continues for the series. I don't think it does. I think it might be just this one episode.
That'd be cool if it's a one-off thing.
But I definitely feel that this is one of those like watershed moments for the series, that it from this point, the dynamics fundamentally change. That you've now thrown Asuka into the mix, and she is, by her very nature, something that is going to draw out something different from the characters.
Well, yeah, we've got a lot of connections now. We've got Asuka has the connection or the crush on Kaji. Kaji's got his thing with Masato. Kaji's also got the work that
Masato, who's very like embarrassed about that relationship.
You got Kaji's doing what he's doing with Gendo.
He's in that intelligence.
Intelligence, like some
the Section 31 of Nerve. A very action orientated episode, I would say.
Yeah, it was, but it was nice in that
Unit 2 looked fucking cool.
Let's talk about the unit.
Jumped out with the tarp.
Yeah, we've talked about the angel.
Draped over it.
We need to talk about the unit. Yeah, like a cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that sort of, that's one of those iconic looks from the series, I think. That sort of Unit 2's appearance into the show is one that's very dynamic. Of like, you get that sense that this one is for fighting. Like it's thrown into a combat situation, which is like jumping from ship to ship, and you sort of see Asuka's ability to pilot it.
That's true.
In a situation where like Shinji's first attempt...
couldn't even walk.
Yeah, like he tripped over, like face planted.
Yeah.
She's at sea jumping from ship to ship.
That's
and the only reason they end up in the water is because she's on the aircraft carrier and the foot steps onto the elevator.
That's right.
Which obviously the sort of...
I knew that the elevating, the levitate, the rising and falling platforms in this show would be their undoing.
Someone was going to get caught out with it.
Someone was going to, you can be too stylish sometimes. That's all I'll say.
And Unit 2 was nothing but style.
Yeah. Even there was a funny moment when we were watching the episode where the battle had been won and Unit 2 does that dramatic landing.
It jumps from the explosion.
Yeah, and it does a cool pose, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then sort of
powers
collapses.
down and collapses.
Right. Yeah.
Great way to end that whole sequence.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, I don't wonder. I know this will happen at one point, but we're going to have units 0, 1, and 2 all, fighting together.
Do we get the 3 soon?
Yeah. I hope it comes. We'll see. They might do it at the end.
I think the show, has a nice brisk pace to it.
Yes. That's good. Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a wasted episode yet.
No.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you sort of want from a show. I think their willingness to have a quieter episode, which is more character-centric,
is
a
3 and
strength
4,
in my book.
4 with that. Yeah.
If you're coming to the show for maybe a more sort of conventional, every week we fight an angel, I can see how that sort of thing would be a little bit here's a underwhelming episode or something like that. But I think most audiences coming to this are probably set up reasonably well to understand what the show is. I think the first 4 episodes sort of balance the different tones that the show will move through and the way that will sort of cycle as it goes.
Well, you can't have a character like Shinji be your main protagonist who at the start at least is very, introverted and nervous, and you can't have a show with a character like him and not expect to have some character stuff in there. It's never just going to be about the fighting robots when you have these sorts of, father-son things going on.
Yeah, it's not his drive. He asks, in that episode with Ray and where they're fighting Ramiel, you have that, why do you pilot it? Aren't you afraid? Him getting into the unit every time, that weighs on him. Yeah. And there is that sort of every episode has that weight of the danger. Yep. The pressure that it puts on people, that is very much in Shinji's mind at all times. And you see that reflected in the structure of the show.
Yeah, I like that right from the get-go, they've always focused on the toll that doing this stuff has on these people. They never did that with Power Rangers.
Yeah, because as far as the actual fights go, I don't ever feel like they may be in sort of huge danger while fighting the angel. It always feels like they'll come out on top. Yeah. But it counteracts...
But it has a toll.
Yeah, but it counteracts that, their ability to easily dispatch the angels. It counteracts it by having a good build of tension that, despite the fact that he's going to get in and defeat the angel, you do feel like there's more at stake. Right. That it's not... The fight is probably not what's going to kill him. Yeah. It's going to be the effects.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it, because we were talking about how... We've now got the 3 pilots. We've got Shinji, we've got Rei, and we've got Asuka. Rei and Asuka, Asuka's very enthusiastic about being a unit pilot. Like you said, she's studied up. She's done all the simulations, she's the best of the best. And then you have Rei, who has been really heavily... Well, but she's been really heavily affected by it, on from a physical, psychological point of view. This process, which Asuka is, really gung-ho about and, are really adept at, Ray's sort of had the opposite experience.
Yeah, it has been hardship for her to get into the Unit 0 so far.
And then there's Shinji in the middle, and he's like, yeah, well, what? Yeah.
Well, that'll do us for another episode of First Impact. You can follow me on Twitter at It's Got Stealth, and as always,
nowhere to be seen.
He's completely gone.
You may as well call me Gargiel, man. I'm deep down in the depths.
Thanks for listening.